Hey guys, and welcome to the Azenco Outdoor Podcast, where we dive into the business of outdoor living and share real stories from the people making it happen. And hosting us today at his beautiful abode, Russ Wettstein. Thank you very much for having us out here, man. How you doing today?
And it's a pleasure to be with you, Grant, and we're looking forward to just a great podcast and just talk business.
So we're going to talk to the audience about a volume game. But before we get into a volume luxury pergola game, give me some of your background. How did you get into construction in general?
Yeah, I've been in construction for over 18 years, and it's been a passion of mine. Even though my background is in business, I've got an MBA in business, but I've always loved to, see a vision of a project, scope it out, bid it out, win the bid, and then put it all together. And then I started off in the remodel business for quite a while. I loved it. And then an opportunity came to go into the automated pergola world, and I jumped into it and absolutely fell in love with it.
Okay. And what was it about that versus traditional remodeling and, doing roofs, doing basements, what have you? What was it about that industry?
It was real simple. I wanted to do something that was clear cut, quick and easy, and did not have to come back multiple times to, do, touch-ups on a paint job or, do something different in the house. And it would always take months and months to finally get your final paycheck. Versus in this business, typically we can meet a client once, present the estimate, win the job, produce the product, and get paid right then and there. So no more going back and forth multiple times because the product is such a beautiful product. We can get in and out and get paid quickly. Gotcha.
Okay, so it's something you can systemize, right? I love that.
Yep.
Okay, so when it comes to your entrance, did you start off with Azenco Pergolas, or where did you start?
No, we started off with another company, Structure.
Yeah.
That great company. We worked well with them for many years, and was a top producer in the whole country, top 10 for 5 years, number one in Texas the whole time. We enjoyed it. We enjoy what we call the backyard patio experience here in Texas. It's hot. People want to come in their backyard, just like we are here today. We're in the backyard. We're in, almost November, and it's just a beautiful time to come enjoy things with your family, enjoy the land that we have here in Texas. And we love that aspect of the business.
Got it. Awesome. So how has your business changed since you became the premier Azenco dealer here in Houston?
It's changed dramatically. I mean, we've always been a volume dealer when we were with the other company. But, with Azenco, there were basically three things that came to us that we wanted to change. We wanted a cleaner looking pergola. We wanted a less expensive pergola, but have a higher quality to it. And then we wanted to be able to incorporate all the things that Azenco can give to us as an installer or as a dealer into one remote, we'll call it. Not multiple things that we have to be able to put together for a customer. It's all basically what we call a one-stop shop. And we can get it done, and we don't have a lot of things that we have to do behind the scenes to be able to make the product work.
Okay, so if I'm reading between the lines from what you're saying, it wasn't always a seamless process. There was a lot of callbacks, go backs. The products maybe you dealt with in the past, they weren't quite as one and done, if you will. Is that right?
100%. I mean, we had to spend a lot of time on warranty work. We've installed well over 50, 60 Azenco pergolas in the last, year, and we've had zero callbacks on motors.
Wow.
Versus when we were with the other company, we had consistent callbacks on the motors. And, as a business owner, we just can't go down that route. We have to be able to install something and then warranty it correctly, because things do happen. This is Houston. We are going to get a lot of rain. We're going to get a lot of heat. But if it's done properly, those motors should not fail. And we constantly have that problem.
Gotcha. Well, that must be a big sigh of relief for you guys then.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for us, it's a game changer because we make money off installing products, not warranting products.
Right. All right. So when I talked to you in the discovery call, we learned that you like to run a volume-driven business. Did you run more of were you trying to run a shop where it was just maybe you and some employees trying to make a good nut on each job, and then you had a shift? Like, where did that realization come from?
It came back in my days of doing remodels. I mean, instead of doing one remodel where we could make a really good high margin, I'd rather do 3 or 4 and still make a good margin, but not, 100% margin, we'll call it, and we can still make more money. So when we got into the pergola business, especially, and we understand, across the country, it's different. In Florida, New Jersey, California, price per square foot can dictate a higher pergola price. But in many other states, the central states, or especially down here in Houston, we are very competitive, and we have to understand that. So we looked at our margins early on, and we decided, hey, we'd rather be a volume company. So, for example, we would rather have 1 or 2 pergolas in every neighborhood versus just one big pergola in one neighborhood, and we can make more money that way. And it accomplishes many things. It gives us the ability to keep our guys busy, okay? It also gives us the ability to upsell, and we upsell quite a bit. We add automated shades to our pergolas all the time. We add often, somebody may want a fire pit or a kitchen or whatnot. We'll add that into it. So if we do volume, meaning 100 pergolas a year versus just 20, we're doing a great job.
And what kind of, because, this show is aimed to help the dealers across the country do work like you're doing. Frankly, we want everybody to be doing good business. So talk to me about those margins, like how can you run a business on low margin? How do you be smart about that?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can. You have to plan well. You have to be able to, for example, in our company, I'm the owner of the company with my wife. We run the top side together. We have a sales manager, but we don't have a foreman, okay? We have our crews, which has a head person on that crew, okay? But we don't have to have somebody else overlooking them. So we cut that middleman out.
Nice.
Okay. And what that allows us to do, so for example, if somebody's going to try to sell a pergola, we'll say 300 square feet, we can sell that pergola for $35,000 versus somebody else may want to try to sell it for $50,000. Okay. But, I have several people, in the business that I've tried to teach this to, and many of them have since gone out of business because they couldn't comprehend that. They were like, man, I can sell one pergola. I'm going to make, $35,000 on it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to sell 5 and only make 20. You made 35 and I made 100. Okay. And my guys are busy. That is what we're looking for. We're trying to have a consistent business that not only makes the company money, but also keeps the guys that are on our crews consistently busy. And that's what volume is all about. If we can do roughly anywhere between, 2+ pergolas a week, that's our goal.
Okay. Well, that's a great goal to have. And it makes a lot of sense. The more I hear you talk about it, I think a lot of contractors, they play contract bumper cars. They work so hard to land one contract, and then all of a sudden, all this time that was dedicated towards marketing and sales now gets dumped into managing foremen, the guys on the ladders, all that. And then finally, we got the money. Now we're trying to chase down the paycheck. I can breathe. Oh, wait, I got to start marketing again. So how do you smooth out a business? How do you keep from hitting the bumper cars?
I mean, again, it comes down to we start with a marketing budget. We know what that budget is. When we look at a project, we don't necessarily look at the project from the end goal. We kind of dial it back first to say, okay, what is our cost? Our cost is X, okay? Then we will add on what it's going to cost for shipping, what it's going to cost for labor, what is it going to cost for our other, expenses that we need. And then we'll look at the price per square foot where we fall, and then we'll adjust accordingly. So, for example, if we can sell a job for under $105 a square foot and still make our 25 to 30% margin, then that's what we'll do. On some jobs, of course, if a customer's willing to pay a little bit more, then we'll push it to 35 to 40. But we are willing to come back from that, knowing, and this happens so much in this business, and a lot of contractors need to understand this. It is a referral-based business. We get, pretty much 35% of our business is referral-based. So when a neighbor, and I've had to tell this to many of neighbors, customers, we'll call them, Mrs. Jones, we're going to give you this price. We haven't been in this neighborhood before, which is true. And then we'll give them a really good deal. Just don't tell your neighbors. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then they'll come back to us and, 6 months later, a year later, a neighbor will call and say, hey, we saw you went to Mrs. Jones' house. We love the pergola. Can you help us out? And then sure enough, there we are. Then there's a second pergola. Then there's a third. There's a fourth. And we have, over 7 years, we have many stories where we have lowballed the first initial job, be it a restaurant or, a really high-end client, just so they could refer us to their family and friends or other customers. And it has yielded, tons of business.
It works.
It works.
That's great to hear. Because a lot of people might look at that and say, the guy who wants a cheap job, he's never going to want to pay, but who cares? This is about exposure.
Yes.
It's marketing at its best. Would you even do a break even on a job just to get that exposure? Or how far would you go?
We have.
You have?
We have. We've never lost money on a job, but we have definitely broke even on several commercial jobs, because when you're a contractor and you're advertising, you have to go out and look for those. People have to look for your company, basically. But when people go to a restaurant, that's free advertising. And we're not talking one customer. We're talking hundreds of customers per day, per week. And then they go into the manager and say, hey, who did this? This was Russ with Azenco. And we give them cards, and they hand out the cards, and then boom. For one restaurant we did in the middle of town in Bel Air, we have probably yielded 20, 30 jobs.
Really?
Off a break even.
I love that.
So 20 to 30 at our normal margin versus 0 in the first. And a lot of contractors probably wouldn't do that.
Right. Well, and what would they would jump to an opportunity to be in a local ad or a newspaper and pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 with no guarantee and no tracking results. But you can break even on a job, get your guys paid, keep the business moving, learn. You're always learning when you're doing an install, right?
100%.
100%, right? So, of course, well, that makes perfect sense, and I love hearing that. Talk to me about the hiring mindset when you're the volume king. How do you hire? Do you like to be employee heavy, employee lean? What's your mindset on that?
100%. Actually, all of our guys that work for us are 1099.
Gotcha.
So we don't have any employees besides both of us that are in the company, and that's it. So we want to hire guys, and our guys have been with us now for the whole time, 7 years, and then we've expanded. So we've got 2 crews. Okay, so we have 2 groups of 3. And then when we have big jobs, they combine together. And then we combine together not just on the pergola jobs, but we also combine together on shades and so forth. So we could turn several times. We have turned let's just call it a $40,000 pergola job into a $150,000 complete renovation of the backyard.
Nice. And going back to the way you hire, I love that you're hiring independent contractors in that sense. What benefits does that bring you? What benefits does that bring that particular contractor?
Some of it is due to just taxation and so forth. But we want them to have their own tools. We want them to, feel like family, like they are a part of the business. And most importantly, especially down here in the South, our contractors just want to be employed and consistently and paid.
Sure.
So if we only have one big job twice a month, it's going to be very difficult to get them in and out twice a month. Our goal is to keep them busy the whole entire week, 5 days a week. Oftentimes when we're really busy, it's 6 days a week.
Talk to me about maintaining quality at scale, because what you're talking about here is having a lot of pergolas going. Sounds like as you ramp up your business, multiple job sites running at once. So talk to me about quality.
Quality is everything. I mean, from Azenco, when we receive the product, it is in pristine, position in our warehouse. We know everything is there. From there, it's up to our guys to make sure it happens. So we don't go. So if I sell a job or one of my sales managers sell a job, then it is our responsibility to show up to the job site. So if the guys, for example, are doing an install tomorrow, they're going to show up, they're going to drop off all the material, then I'm going to show up, and then I am going to personally pull out the plans and explain to them exactly what's in my mind, in my vision. Because you can't expect a contract, employee to show up to a job site and you envision it this way, and they may not know that it needs to be 6 inches over that way and blah, blah, blah. So it is mandatory that we show up, get the job started. And with Azenco, it's fairly easy. We're dealing with once the starting point, like we know that one left angle needs to be right there. From there, it's easy. Okay. And our guys have been with us long enough to understand. I speak Spanish. Yo hablo español todos los días.
Bien.
And so I explain things in Spanish exactly where they need to be. And we just don't have mess ups because we can't afford mess ups. And with Azenco cutting everything to perfection, cutting everything exactly where it needs to be, we can't afford to have, mess ups.
Yeah, of course. So you've been around Azenco for some time now. You've talked to some other dealers. Maybe you've attended an onboarding. In your opinion, what's either the number one or the top three mistakes that a new dealer might make?
I think sometimes a new dealer may think, hey, I just want to add this to my business.
To my repertoire
of things versus the way that I've done things, for the last 7 years is that pergolas are first, everything else will follow. So for example, if you're really good at fireplaces or really good at kitchens, if somebody's going to buy a $35,000, $40,000 pergola and they trust you, they're going to want you to put in a kitchen for them and a fire pit and maybe some turf. And that's how I've turned, $50,000 jobs into $150,000 jobs.
Sure.
I think that's first. It has to come first. So if you're looking to really grow with Azenco and its systems, it has to be something you let go of everything else and you dedicate just to pergolas. And trust me, we've done over $4 million in business several times.
Annually, right?
Just in pergolas.
Just in pergolas.
Okay, well, not just in pergolas, but pergolas and upsells from shades and so forth.
Right, the foundation.
The foundation was there,
structure,
but still well over, $2.5-3 million in pergolas. And then if you dedicate your advertising and marketing towards that, there's plenty of business to make that happen. If not, and you're trying to do it as a one-off, two things are going to happen. You're probably not going to sell as much. And two, your crews may not be as proficient at doing the installs.
Right. You've lost that system mentality.
Yeah.
So take me back to that first year when you started doing pergolas. It sounds like it was structure. Regardless of brand, just running that type of business in general, what would you tell your younger self that first year? Hey, man, slow down and take a look at X or Y. What do you say?
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I wanted to get in the backyard patio business because I knew it was very minimalistic. Okay, meaning there was only a couple of things we have to do back there, not like in a full remodel house with electrical, AC, paint,
stairs,
floors, stairs, all kinds of stuff, right? So, when we first started, and I will tell this to any new dealer, and even us including right now that we're a newer dealer now with Azenco for the past year, is that it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to buy in to this is something that I want to do for the next 10 to 15 years. And I want to invest my time. Once I get the base in place, once I get the right advertising, the right marketing, the right crews, you can build a multi-million-dollar business off of pergolas for sure. My young self, I would say, do exactly what we did. I mean, we busted our butt. I was out there with my crews doing the installs, cutting out every middleman I possibly could to be able to make the margins work. Mm-hmm. And our first year, I think we only did 30, maybe not even 30, maybe 20 pergolas. But then the next year we doubled that.
Oh, wow.
To like 55.
Oh,
Then
wow.
the next year we went up to close to 80. And then at our peak, we were doing over 100. So it will build, the base will build, the architects will come, the landscapers will come, referrals will come. And when you build a business that is high quality and exceptional customer service, meaning when somebody has a problem, you're on it instantly, people will refer you all around.
Now, why do you think most contractors fear scale, fear the volume mentality?
That's a tough question. I mean, I think some people, in their mind, maybe they've been taught or maybe they've hit a couple of home runs. And let me make the analogy to baseball. That's one of the sports that I love the most. In our business, we look at everything as singles, doubles, triples, and home runs. Okay? So if we have several jobs a month that are singles, great. We're shooting for a double or a triple. And if we get the majority out of those in that double or triple range, awesome. Every once in a while, we'll hit a home run where we blow the margins through the roof. But we're not shooting for that, because if you only shoot for the home run, and in baseball, obviously it's difficult to hit a home run, but much easier to hit singles and doubles and triples. Not even triples, but singles and doubles. And that's what we've always shot for. We're going to go where the masses are. We're going to provide a product that everyone can use, not just the uber wealthy. We want to bring it into the middle class American where, hey, I got a beautiful home. I want to invest in this pergola that is kick ass. And it is more expensive than your typical cedar pergola, but it's got a 15-year warranty. It's not going to fall down after, 2 years. And it also will hold its value. Mm-hmm. So when you sell your house, if you spent $25,000 on it, it's going to hold its value. And that's another key selling point that we always, tell our customers.
What is the average home value you guys typically serve?
Here in Houston, it's a little bit different than on some of the coasts for sure. Our price per square foot, I think in Houston in general, is right around $200 a square foot.
Okay.
Then you go up to your higher upper middle class to your wealthy, and you're talking $400 to $500. We try to get into that $250 per square foot up to whatever it goes to. We want to accommodate the middle class. That's always our goal.
You're talking about their home value?
Home value.
Okay, gotcha.
Home value. And because the home value is important, very rarely are you going to have somebody that has a low value home, $150,000 or less, that's going to put in a $25,000, $30,000 pergola. It just doesn't happen that often, although we have done it.
Sure.
But most of the time, our demographics are people that are middle to high income earners to, wealthy individuals, and we market towards them. That's what we do. It's a high end product. It's bar none, the best in its class. And that's what our customers want. They want an exceptional product that is going to wow their family and friends and not look like, oh my gosh, why did I buy this piece of crap?
Yeah, of course. Earlier we talked about marketing. You said that you devote a little bit of budget towards marketing, as any business should. And then you talked a lot about referrals and things that come along with it to where you get a much higher rate of return on your marketing once you're established. But in the beginning, where did you devote that marketing spend to?
Most of our marketing has always gone in basically two places, either Google AdWords or into Meta.
Gotcha.
And it's a bit of a mystery sometimes, how it all ends up and how it all ends up in our inbox. But a lot of our clients, they're not looking for the cedar pergola.
Okay.
They're Googling these words: louvered, automatic, motorized pergola.
Really? They're that intentional.
That intentional. Okay. So when I get an email and it says John Smith at something engineering firm, I'm like, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Engineers love they love our product.
Sure.
Because it's complicated, but super clean, super, it's right up their alley. We have a lot of doctors, a lot of lawyers, people that are wanting something. Because if you think about it, 100 pergolas in a year is not that many. We're talking less than 10 a month. Okay.
For some people, that's crazy. That's a high amount.
I understand that.
But at volume, you're saying
it's not that much.
We can chuckle at these numbers.
We can definitely, because in summertime, we can do 2 to 3 a week.
Woo.
Okay. Because that's the advantage of the Azenco system. We can put these things up in one day. So the pergola that's right here above us right now is a 14 by 17 cantilever, and we put it up in one day.
Nice.
And you can't do that anywhere else. No cuts, no extra things that you have to do. You literally just put it together and then lift it up, cut your post down to wherever you want it to be, and then put it in. That's it. You can't find that anywhere else. And so the advantage is, think about that from the margin perspective. Instead of taking 2 days or 3 days to do a pergola, we can do it in one. So now we have the ability to do 2 or 3 or even 4 in a month. In a week, if we needed to, no problem at all. So that's where that volume business comes into play. And, I think business owners, if they focus in on one thing, and I know, Grant, you've read many books on this, okay? If you diversify yourself too much,
yeah,
what happens?
Well, you're a master of none, right?
You're a master of none. We want to be the master of the louver automated pergola. And from that comes many, many, many other things. And we've done really well at it.
Oh, congratulations on that. No, I love to hear that. It's what we're always preaching to new dealers. It's, it sounds self-serving as a Azenco. So we'll just put in pergolas. Well, just stay tight on that niche. Like you're saying, yes, it starts with the pergola. And of course, if you have other ways to serve them, but know your business, know the shot. Don't be the guy that says, yeah, I think I can do that. That's not going to end well.
No, we're not the guy out of the back of your truck,
right?
That's going to want to put these things in. I can just tell you personally that I literally fell in love with the automated pergola.
Yeah.
And then I dedicated myself to it. And, over 7 years, we've probably sold well over $25 million worth of business.
Jeez.
And that's in pergolas. And when I tell that to people, like friends of mine, like, what do I do? I'm like, I'm in construction. Well, what do you do? And I'm like, we sell a louver pergola. And they say, what is that? Okay. And that's good.
Yeah, of course.
It is good.
Yeah.
Because we are in, and I've always said this from the beginning, we're in the education business. People don't know that there's anything beyond a cedar pergola.
Me 4 months ago.
Okay. So when you find out that there's not only an automated one, okay, that can open and close, but it has a 15-year warranty with it, that's unheard of. I can't tell you how many times I drive around, because I do this all the time, of course, because I sell as well. And I'll drive into a neighborhood and I'll drive down just a main drag, and I'll see 10 dilapidated cedar pergolas
right.
that somebody probably still spent 10, 15 grand on. and it looks like crap right now.
Is that right? 10 or 15 grand, you think?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after 2 or 3 years, because remember, and I always tell this to customers, and they realize this, and I don't want to pick on California, but I'll pick on California. I'll say, listen, Mrs. Jones, if we lived in California, that cedar pergola would look fantastic right now. But you live in Houston, Texas, and it is hot, it is humid, and it rains a lot. And that wood, even though it may be water resistant, it's not. It's going to fall apart. And so if you invested a little bit more money, this is what you can get. And overwhelmingly, if the customer is willing to spend that money, they choose us all the time. Yeah. And I have no knock on cedar pergolas.
They have their place.
They have their place, but for the high-end customer, somebody who wants something that's going to last forever, you can't beat the Azenco pergola.
Yeah. Let's just let's end this with some parting words of wisdom. Talk to that new contractor. He wants to get into that luxury outdoor market. He's on the ladder, kind of like you. Maybe the girlfriend or the wife is also helping. What advice do you give that lonely contractor wondering how to run a volume game?
I think you have to invest and say to your partner, to your wife, or whoever is with you, I'm going to go all in on this because I think this is what I want to do. I don't want to go to job site doing door frames, roofing, patios, blah, blah, blah. All I want to do is focus in on one thing. And from one thing can yield, just a wondrous, things for your family and for your life. Don't be afraid. I mean, I know personally several people that do $10 to $15 million in pergolas every single year. Okay. Even I strive to be up that high. I mean, I'm not even close to that, but we'll be there one day, and we'll be there with Azenco's help. And just don't be afraid. Commit and know that nothing happens overnight. It's going to take some time, and then you'll build the framework, build the volume, build the referrals, and then boom. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, holy cow, I gotta hire 3 more people. This is ridiculous. That's what I would say.
I love it. Sounds like you do the right things. Eventually the light bulb turns on.
I would say if you always in life do the right things.
Yeah.
If you provide, I mean, it's no different than Tesla. It's no different than Amazon. If you provide a great product on time, our products typically get to us within 5 to 6 weeks. So if you sign a contract with me today, which is October 27th, and you have a Christmas party, we can do it. We can get it installed before then. Okay. And not a lot of companies can do that because remember, a lot of companies, their pergolas come from overseas. And what's happening if you're missing a beam or missing a part? Then, Mrs. Jones, I'm sorry about Christmas. I might be able to get it in before Easter. Okay. And that's what happens. So, be confident. You have to be confident in the company you're dealing with. And, I'll say it. I'm all in on Azenco. It's been the best move we've ever made. And, we look forward to, dominating the market.
Awesome, man. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Wherever you're listening, be sure to like the show. Leave a review, please. And remember, guys, life is better outside.